Hello, happy June. So it is the beginning of the month of June, and I wanted to wish you all a very happy summer, and I hope this season is flourishing like these beautiful flowers here. So I wanted to talk to you today about how to deal with your cheating partner. So if you didn't know who I am, my name is Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach. My goal is to help both men and women be in relationships that's best for them. So I am going to tell you how to deal with a cheating partner right after this. Mrs. Danielle DeVita back with another video. I overheard someone say that marriage is overrated. A lot of women say, I like the strong silent type. Well, a lot of men like the feminine silent type. And for sure, it's going down. So a lot of times people are not getting the value. When to speak and when to be quiet is one of them. Driven, not lazy. And this will make yourself and get on the right path. That understand that you might be doing a disservice to your daughter. If you don't help her understand vetting and proper decision making, now she's going to be a basket case later. If you don't help her understand emotional intelligence, she's going to hold on to a lot of emotional baggage. If you don't So you may say, well, how do you know how to deal with a cheating partner? Have you been cheated on? No, I have not. However, I still believe that there are some wonderful tips that can be utilized on how to deal with them. This is what I would do if I was faced with this situation. And I think that if you do this, this will help you in the long run. This is information that could be used for emotional cheating, actual cheating, or if you feel that someone is, you have suspicion of them cheating. So you don't know if they're cheating, they may not actually have cheated, but they are dancing around the idea of cheating. They're open to it. They are putting opportunities, creating opportunities to cheat. And I'll go into that more as I go through this video. So first, how to deal with a cheating partner. The very first thing you should do is first, to make sure you know how to properly deal with it, to have a proper foundation, is to have that kind of communication when you're first out in the dating range with this person. So let's say you are first meeting this person. So we'll go into married persons later, right? But talking about someone who's dating first. If you are out in the dating market and you have yet to come into contact with this issue, you want to start saying, hey, what's your pet peeves? What do you see in a partner? What do you value in a partner? And one of the things you should be saying is, I value honesty and loyalty. Those are one of the things you should be saying. So you don't have to necessarily say, I don't like people who cheat. I don't like people who lie. If you say, I value honesty and loyalty, these things, you know, are around that, because people who omit things, people who directly lie, people who, you know, dance around things or are misleading or not as transparent as they should be in certain situations, honesty and loyalty can cover some of these things. So if you have to have that foundation, it's easier that if someone does do anything to compromise the trust, you say, hey, I said I value honesty and loyalty. I'm not getting that right now. And then if they do that again, depending on how big their dishonesty and loyalty is, if it's a white lie, then, you know, you work on those things and address it, and then you give them another opportunity. If it's something big, then of course, if you feel like you want to, you can leave the relationship right then and there. The whole point is, if you set a foundation, it makes it easier to have a crossroad moment. If you're not hip to my videos, then let me tell you what crossroads are. Crossroads is when you are at a fork in the road. You are at a point where the relationship either needs to come to an end, or we need to do something to make the relationship better. And that would depend on the particular issue that pushed you at this crossroad. So if it's a big issue, then you would just need to make a decision. You know what? This isn't going to work out. If it's something that is that could be addressed and fixed, you know, you could cure the issue, then you would say, hey, I don't like this right here that you did. I mentioned in the very beginning that I like honesty, I like people who I can trust, and I like loyalty, and I'm not getting that out of this situation. Either maybe that person either danced around it or created an opportunity and it hasn't happened, or they have already done the bad deed, and you can determine, hey, you know what, I don't like it. Let's move forward. without this incident because I want a healthy relationship. Then if they do it again, it makes it easier to leave. Now, so let's say you are in a committed relationship. Maybe this foundation wasn't done or you're past this point, right? If the foundation has either been done or you're past this point and you're either in a very committed relationship, maybe several months, maybe a year or 2 years, maybe you're married. At this point, you're not going to say at the beginning of our relationship, 10 years ago, if you were married, or, 2 years ago when we first dated. But what you can say is, in a relationship, I value honesty. In a relationship, I value loyalty. I want to be able to trust you and I want you to be able to trust me. Right now, I am getting that you're not open. And even though I can't see or I'm not sure, I have doubt. And I don't want to have that doubt. I want to be able to trust you wholeheartedly. So, and this is for someone who they haven't actually caught the person cheating. They are insinuating, they are assuming based on clues and things like that. So they don't feel like they can trust this person. Although the person maybe never have told them, or no one has ever told them, hey, this person is cheating. You just feel it. A lot of women have intuition. A lot of men have, heard whispers, or maybe they have the intuition that something's not right with this woman, right? So if you have not actually red-handedly caught this person, but you are feeling like they are, and we're not talking about insecurities where you're just insecure and you just think people are cheating, but this person is giving you, there's a lot of facts that's leading up to them not doing what they're supposed to do. Maybe they're not answering their phone when you're around. Maybe they seem like they're holding the phone close to them. I believe in addressing issues instead of assuming. Assuming can really mess things up, especially if you're wrong. So a lot of times, a lot of people are afraid to ask questions, so they assume. Ask. Say, hey, I love you and I want to be able to trust you. And right now, I see that, you're hiding your phone or you're not answering calls. It feels like we are distant. Whatever the issues that you see that are seem to be clues, say, hey, I am not accusing you of anything. But what I am saying is I feel like our relationship isn't as transparent anymore. I want to be able to wholeheartedly trust in you. So if there's something that's keeping us apart, there's a distance that's coming between us, I feel it. What can I do to fix it? And what is it that, can you explain some of these things, these reservations that I have, that you, about your phone, or I feel like you're more private than normal. So can you please tell me and help me with what's going on here? I don't want to, not trust you. But can we have a conversation? Can we have an honest conversation? I don't mean to assume. I don't mean to disrespect. I just want to have a conversation because I want to be able to trust you. So I think that if you ask these questions, if you make these statements, and make sure you're calm. If you're not calm, then all the person is going to do is be defensive. Hey, maybe they get defensive whether you're calm or not. Then say, you know what? I see this situation is stressing you out. Would you like to revisit it later? Would you like to, or continue talking about it? So again, I don't want you stressed out. I just want to have this conversation. I think that we are at a point in our relationship that we can have these type of honest conversations. This is how I'm feeling. I don't want to feel like this. Again, this is if you're not sure if they're doing anything wrong. This is something that you're feeling, your intuition. But if they are upset and you're calm, and you can say, why are you defensive? I feel like we've been in this relationship long enough for me to be able to have an honest conversation. And I'm just saying, I just don't feel confident. I feel like there's a disconnect between us. And I want to feel confident and safe and want to be able to trust you. So here are some things that I see that's causing me to not want to not feel, safe, emotionally safe, that I feel where the trust is compromised. When there's a phone call, it's consistently out of my presence. When there is a text, it is consistently read out of my presence, like you leave the room. If I were to do that every time there's a phone call or a text, I could see how it would be alarming. It would make someone think twice. If it is a person that you're you're speaking to, you're seen to be a little bit more friendly than when you're speaking with me. And these things just have me concerning. And see what that person says. I always like to start a conversation off with, can I have an honest conversation with you? Is this the right time to speak? Because if I do that, then it lets the person know that we're going to have a serious conversation. But the key to this is making sure your tone is genuine, sincere, and not in an attacking mode, because you can have a low voice but still sound accusatory or attacking or condescending. I have conversations, difficult conversations often, and I'm married. And to have those conversations, you have to set the tone that this is a discussion. I just want to talk. And I'm not saying this actual conversation I've had, but there's many, you will apply this to any type of conflict or anything that could potentially be a conflict. So if it's going to be something negative that you want to discuss, you know, you don't have to do the typical, we need to talk. You can do something, hey, whenever you're free, can we have time to talk? I want to have a honest conversation with you. And when that person says that they are, and you want to give them an opportunity, you don't want to just do it, because if you don't ask when they're free to have this kind of conversation, they could have had a bad day, they could have be irritable, whatever emotion they're already having. You don't want that to come into the conversation. You want them to be wholeheartedly and open to hear what you have to say. And then you would have this conversation. You know, in our marriage or in our relationship, I value honesty. I value transparency. What I feel now is I feel like there's a disconnect. I feel that there's no transparency in our relationship. It used to be where if a phone call or a text came through, you would answer it as normal. I'm noticing now that texts and phone calls are out of my presence. I notice that there's late night phone calls, and I feel like there's a compromise in our trust. I feel that we are not as transparent, and I don't want to feel that way. You know, do you feel the disconnect? Is there a disconnect in our relationship? And if so, can you tell me why and how? How can we cure it? And the important term is, how can we cure it? Because even if that person is saying, yes, there's a disconnect, and that disconnect has led them to do whatever thing that they're doing that's inappropriate, if they are doing something inappropriate, then they can address that then. Well, because a lot of people, sadly, they do cheat, or they do, you know, open the door because there's something going on in the home. So, or in the relationship, if you guys aren't married or living together. And people do that. They don't like to have those conversations, so they just have an outlet, and it's usually someone else. And when I say open the door, the person may not be cheating, but they are encouraging flirting or encouraging late night phone calls with someone they shouldn't be. So they're kind of opening the door, so if something happens, they can say it just happened, but it didn't. They are talking to someone when they shouldn't. They are having these extra text messages, extra hugs, or extra chit chat, extra flirting. They are doing these extra things that they shouldn't be doing because they are opening the door to maybe that kiss, or maybe that date, or maybe that taking it too far, right? And that has to be nipped in the bud, and this is how you have that kind of conversation. Now, that's if you're not sure, because a lot of people, they say someone's cheating, but they haven't actually got the evidence. Now, so that was all of that. Let's talk about actual cheating. Let's say you witnessed it, someone else witnessed it, there's video, you caught them red-handed, they've been caught by someone else and showed you the evidence. Maybe that person admitted to cheating. Maybe you just saw like someone leave an earring or underwear, or you know, a man's cologne was on someone. Like, let's say it's you either know it, they're caught red-handed, or they have left hard evidence. There's a condom there, right? A used condom, and you know y'all aren't using it, or whatever have you, and they're cheating. All right, you would need to address it immediately. Hey, this has happened. This is the data I've collected. And at this point, you can determine if you're going to stay in a relationship or not. But either way, it needs to be a crossroad. The crossroad would be, this behavior stops now. If it does not stop, I leave. This is for those who want to stay. This behavior stops. I believe that if the person is immediately defensive, if the person is not remorseful, so if they're not remorseful, if they're defensive, or if they blame you for their actions. Well, I cheated because I did this because of you. You did this. You cheated on me first. You yelled at me. You did this. So I'm acting out. That's childish, and I believe the relationship should come to an end. Because if the person is not sorry, like, you know what, I shouldn't have done it, I didn't mean to, well, I don't like that term, I didn't mean to, because you don't accidentally cheat, but let's not have that conversation at this point here. But if the person is not remorseful, if they're defensive, if they flip it on you, whatever the reason is, I think the relationship should come to an end. But sometimes people are married, they have children. I'm married, I have children, but I'm telling you what I would do, right? You determine, is this a one-time thing, or is it multiple? I believe that if this is multiple, this is more than one incident, I believe it should come to an end. However, people feel that there's a lot at stake when there's children involved. But I always say that relationship does not thrive when there's a lack of respect, when there's a lack of trust, and when there's resentment. And usually if you stay in a relationship that you know someone is mistreating you, especially by cheating on you, there's gonna be resentment, and you're not gonna heal, and you're gonna hold that over their head like forever. Usually that's how it is. A man will hold it over a woman's head, a woman will hold it over a man's head, and then you're probably not going to be able to trust that person for a long time. What kind of relationship is that? How is that helping the children to see two parents walking around hating each other or mad at each other or not talking to each other? All that does is help children grow up and say, my parents been married for 30 years and they've never liked each other. I don't want to ever have that kind of marriage. If marriage is being married to someone you don't like, you hear this all the time on TikTok when people say their parents have been married forever, but they don't want that type of relationship because their parents don't even look like they like each other. So, if cheating is clear, it's evident, you are at a crossroad. How do you deal with a cheater? You either stick it out, make it work, and they have to want to move forward. If they're saying or doing anything other than, I want to move forward and I want to do better, in which most likely it's going to be, we're getting counseling. We're getting counseling. Just to talk about it is not enough. You need to get counseling, because the fact that they've done it means they don't know how to properly communicate. Because if someone said, I'm feeling this, I'm doing this, they would get the help rather than resort to cheating. Cheating is sometimes an outcry. It is, a temper tantrum. You are mad at them for doing this, so then you do this. Or there's insecurities, so then you do this. Or you don't know how to be committed, so you rather do this. You're afraid of the same monotony, right? The same thing over and over and over. And so sometimes people try something out because they don't want, they've been having this same thing, this same person, and they want to try something different. So a lot of times people cheat. Again, I think it's not a root. Cheating is not a root. It is a symptom of something else. So you're going to need therapy. I think you're going to need therapy more than coaching in those instances, because there's something underlining that a therapist may be able to do and pull out than a coach. A coach is kind of like a pep talk, like, yeah, let me help encourage you. But with these things, I think a therapist is needed. So that's the only thing. If you've caught them cheating, therapy is a must if you're going to stay in a relationship. If you're not going to stay in a relationship, or you are contemplating about staying in a relationship, or you don't believe you'll ever trust them again, if you don't think that you'll ever believe them again, if you think that you're going to hold this over their head for a very, very, very long time, if you think that you need time and years to heal, whatever the situation is, you should leave the relationship. No bluffing, no playing games, no I'm leaving for 10 minutes, I'm leaving for 2 weeks, I'm leaving. No, you leave for good. Unless the intent is to, I want to stay in this relationship, but you need a break from them, that's fine. And you're letting them know, I want to be in this relationship and I want to get therapy, but I need some time and space. I don't need you up on me. I need time and space to contemplate and think about this and meditate on this decision about us staying together. That's fine. But if you truly don't want to be in a relationship, if you don't think you're going to heal with this person or you're going to trust them again, then you should move on. That's how you truly deal with a cheating partner. If you don't think that there's ever going to be a mending of the heart or a mending of trust. If you don't think you can trust them, if you don't think you'll ever be healed, if you think that you're going to be resenting them forever, if you think they're going to do it again, whatever it is, leave the relationship. Leave, leave, leave. No bluffing, no playing games. Just say, you know what? It was a wonderful time in this relationship, but I want to be with someone that I can trust. I want to be with someone who values honesty and loyalty just as I do. So, because of that, this relationship must come to an end. I think it's irreparable. I don't think that there's anything that you can say or do to cure it. Why? Because even if you say whatever it is you say and we try to fix those things, I won't feel like I can trust you again. I want to be with someone I can trust. I want to be with a woman I can trust. I want to be with a man I can trust. Whichever partner you are. So I think men and women can take this and learn from it. Again, if you don't think you can ever trust them, if you don't think that you can heal, or you're gonna stay mad at them and you don't want to work it out, if you're not planning on putting in the work that is required for therapy, you should leave the relationship. There's no point of saying I'm gonna go to therapy and you're not gonna fix it. What's the point of saying you're gonna go to therapy and you have no intentions on actually putting in the work in therapy? Don't do it for them. It's supposed to be for you. You're doing therapy. Yes, they can get therapy on their own, but the whole point is for you guys both to make it work. If you have no intentions on putting in full effort in therapy and making your relationship work, you should leave and do not come back to the relationship. So no playing games. In 2 weeks, I'll come back, but you don't tell them. No. Again, if you want the therapy to work, but you need a break to process all of this, that's fine. Say, you know what? We can do therapy. We can make the relationship work, but I just need a little time to myself just to process all of this. This is a lot for me. Give me that time. And then take your 2 weeks and then go into therapy. All right? So if you forgot everything I told you, rewind this, listen again, or take it to the point where I talked about crossroads. Either make it work and actually put in the effort to make it work again. And again, I say you want to make it work when it's a one-time incident. This is not the 5th or 6th time. This is the first time incident. This is something where you want to work it out and try it again. Or you're married and you want to work it out. If you're not married, then it really should be like a one or two thing at the most. I really don't, when it comes to trust and honesty, you don't want people to keep overriding that trust and breaking down those walls, right? You want to have a wall of trust. And if they keep tearing it down, they're gonna start to think that you don't mean what you say. When you say you value honesty and trust, because you don't. Not if you've given them a 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th, and 10th. No, you don't. So they think that you're just saying these things. So it really should be a one time, at the most 2, that you give them. So they mess up one time, then you give them one more chance. So you basically give them a second chance. After the second chance, the third time is it. So you really should only give one opportunity or a second chance when it comes to trust and loyalty. If you do, and again, I say this when you are in a committed relationship or you're married, If you're not, then I think you should go the other way and leave. But if you are married and you're in a committed relationship, you can give someone a second chance. When that person has violated that second chance or that first chance, depending on how big it is, how big this pet peeve or deal breaker it is for you, then you should leave, especially if you're just dating. You're not in a, 1-year relationship, or you're not married, or you're not someone with children with this person. Then you really should leave, because then they believe that everything come out your mouth is a lie when you give several chances. It is what it is. No one trusts people who talks and doesn't walk the walk. You got to do both. You got to do both in this instance. Again, if you're married and the second chance have been violated, you have a decision to come through. I'm not going to tell you what to do when you're married, because I understand. You're married. You built your life together. But the same things that I said apply. People tend to not believe you when you say things that's inconsistent with what you do. And I believe that without a doubt, if I did something that was inappropriate, and my husband, I believe, because every time he says something, he follows through with it. So if he were to say, you violate the trust in our relationship, the loyalty, I'm gone. Our 3 children, he would just be co-parenting. He would be gone. Same for me. So you have to make sure that that this person knows that when they say something, it's going to happen. They're going to believe it. But if someone says something all the time, over and over again, I'm not going to know if they were serious or not. And not even if you were that person. Now, start changing it and be the person now that what you say, you are a woman of your word. You're a man of your word. Start being that person. No more chances if you've already given the second chance. Mean what you say. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle DeVita. For more of my content, you can go to mrsdanielledevita.com. You can see me on social media. Follow me. And subscribe to my channel. It is free. I have more content coming for you soon. Thanks, and take care.